So it's the beginning of the courgette season again. You need to brace yourself because when these courgettes start coming in, they really come in. There's no need to desert any of your excess glut on your neighbour's doorsteps and give it all away. I have 2 family approved recipes that use up a decent amount of courgettes in each one so that you don't end up with too much product at the end of it. And both of these recipes can be frozen.
As you can see, I've already got the apple puree, the egg, the flour, the sugar and all those bits and pieces into the bowl already. So we're just going to add the cocoa powder now and some baking powder and some bicarbonate of soda. Being as there's only 1 egg in the recipe, this will help it rise a lot more than if we've left it out. I also find that the chocolate helps to, in inverted commas, hide the courgette. It gives it a much stronger flavour so that the courgette just becomes part of the texture of the cake rather than the flavour itself. Now I'm mixing it up here, and an amalgamation of the recipes on the internet tend to try and get you to put honey in. But I'll show you later what happens when you do put honey in. But we have put sugar in, so therefore we have less fluid. So just to get the consistency better, I'm going to add at first 2 tablespoons of water. And that will start to bring the cake mixture together and it will look less dry. However, I decide at this point that maybe we need 4 tablespoons of water. Now this will depend obviously on how wet the courgette is, and I know it sounds a bit funny, but how dry your flour is, because depending on where it's kept it will change how much moisture is actually in it. Okay, so I'm getting it spooned into my cake, well they're not cake tins, they're actually silicone, these ones, and I quite like them because they're a bit smaller. It helps spread out the heat when it's in the oven if you've got them in smaller pans. The bigger the pan, the longer it takes to cook and the more chance of the centre being undercooked or raw. And I'm just smoothing them out a bit so that we get an even cake. And here they go in the oven, 180 degrees, 50 to 60 minutes. Obviously when testing these you need to be careful because they're silicone, not tin. And here they are cooked. Tipping them out, they've got a nice structure to them. Very hot though, so flipping it over quick and popping it out the way there, and we'll let them cool. So here's the comparison between one with honey in and one with sugar in, honey being on the left. I'm cutting into it now. And you can see inside it's very squidgy, almost raw in the centre, although I know it's not raw because it's cooked for a long time. I would not be happy in giving other people that cake. Whereas the one with the sugar in, it's kept its structure, and as I cut it again towards the centre, you'll see that it's nice and moist, and this bubbly texture is a cross between a banana bread type structure and a cake, so you're sort of getting that best of both worlds, you get that squidge.
Okay, so I've got a piece of the cake that we baked yesterday and I've been waiting for lunchtime to try and test it. I can see the odd speck of courgette actually in there, but it's not really visible. A lot of it seems to have been absorbed within the cake texture, so very good for kids. So let's try it. It's moist, it's got a subtle chocolatey flavour, I'd say. If you really want a strong flavour, you probably want to put a little bit more cocoa powder in. but for my family it makes a change from a full-on chocolate cake to have a more subtle one. It has caramel undertones, so the sweetness there, it's not like full-on sugar, it's got that sort of caramelly flavour, and that makes it not too sweet. Again, how my family likes it, so if you want it a little bit sweeter you might want to put a little bit more sugar in, but I wouldn't get too carried away. It's also very good for lunches, because a lot of the courgette cakes on the internet tend to have a lot of peanut butter in them, and of course we can't take that to school, so the fact that there is no nuts in this makes it perfect for school. And we tend to just slice it up, freeze it, and then the children put it in their lunch boxes themselves, take to school, and by the time lunchtime arrives it's defrosted and yummy, ready to go. So I've got some more courgettes to use up, and this time we're going to be making a soup. Gets those courgettes used up and into the freezer in a usable form. My husband particularly likes taking this to work. The ingredients are very simple. You've got courgettes, onion, garlic, tomatoes in whatever form you can get them to make up the weight. So at the moment we're not producing enough tomatoes to do the full thing yet, but I will top it up to the amount afterwards with tinned tomatoes. You need balsamic vinegar and a little bit of salt and pepper.
So let's get the chopping done. Doesn't need to be anything specific, just enough surface area so that when we cook it we get some browning. After all, we are going to whiz it up later. I find that squashing the garlic thing helps get the skin off really well. Again with the onion, just looking for a nice chunky chop there. The larger tomatoes I'm going to get in half again to get that browning on the surface area, but the little ones I tend to just leave whole. And then just got to transfer them into our baking dish. Moving a few around, again looking for that surface area. Bit of balsamic vinegar on the top. And a pinch or two of salt and pepper. Now we're good to go. 200 degrees in the oven for up to an hour. You can just gauge it, and that's what I like about this recipe, is the fact that it's basically chop it, bung it in the oven. Now here's our tomatoes to make up the missing amount. All I'm doing is I've got them on the scales and I'm just weighing out literally what is missing. Get the scales out the way there. This is the stock. I haven't got stock cubes, I make my own stock powder, so I just pop a bit of that in and then the relevant amount of water. You may have noticed that there's not much actually here. It's because I haven't got a full batch worth, so you can divide down or multiply up the recipe quite easily. It's very forgiving, as a lot of the recipes I do are. You can tweak it, you can put other herbs and spices in if you wish, but we like it this way. I'm also here deglazing the dish because a lot of these brown bits in the dish that have been baked on have got all that lovely flavour inside. So just a little splash of water and a stir around with a spoon, and you can see the colour of it there. It'll get a lot more flavour into the soup for us. Okay, nearly there. We've just got to whiz it up. Now you can make this obviously as smooth or chunky as you like. We like it relatively smooth. I suppose you could use a high-speed blender to get it smoother still. But I do like I like to know that it's got different ingredients in it, shall we say. So I don't blend it all the way, but no big chunks. Now you can see here I'm putting it into a taster pot, but unfortunately I seem to have lost the footage, don't know where it's gone. But it's a really beautiful taste. It's very fresh. It has got that tomatoey base, but it's surprisingly sweet from the roasting, and the onion and garlic pack in the flavour and add depth to it. So here we are now. What I'm doing is jarring it up, and you can see I made a bit of a mess of it to start off with, and then I thought, maybe it'd be better if I use my jamming funnel. So I got that out the cupboard. It makes it a lot easier. Putting it in these jars. Now these two, because it's only a small batch, I'll just pop in the fridge for lunches. But if you keep it well below the rim, you can actually freeze it in these jars. And then, as I said, my husband likes to take it to work, and it'll defrost ready for him to heat up at work. Well, I hope you like these two recipes. Our family does really enjoy them, and I hope they help you with your glut of courgettes that is soon to be coming in your door. Thank you for watching. Bye!